Hello everyone! In today's video, I'm going to show you how I upload my coloring books to the Amazon KDP platform. In my last video, I showed you the final process of creating my latest coloring book, which, by the way, has been released and it's already available on Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description in case you want to check it out. Today I'm going to show you how I set up my files and how I upload them to the Amazon KDP platform, so the book becomes available to be found and bought by the platform users. This process suits not only coloring books, but any other kind of book that you want to self-publish on Amazon. The files we need are the manuscript and the cover. The manuscript is the book's interior. It's a PDF document that must be formatted according to the specifications of the kind of book that you want to publish, but more on that later. The book cover should also respect certain rules that we'll see later on. To tell you the truth, most of the steps I'm going to show you next, I don't do them anymore because I used to publish all of my books with the same dimensions, so I already have a template that I use when I'm going to create a new book. But now I'm going to do it like it was the first time, to show you how it works. The first thing I do is go to Canva and create a new document with the size that I want my book to have. In this case, it will be 8.5 by 8.5 inches. One of the rules that we have to follow is the size of the margins. So I go over to the Amazon KDP website to see what's the size that I must consider for my book. The only measurement that varies is the inside margin, which is the margin on the left side, which depends on the number of pages that the book will have. In my case, it will have 92 pages, so the minimum measurement I have to consider is 0.375 inches. For the remaining margins, the upper, the bottom, and the exterior, the minimum margin is 0.25 inches for books without bleed. For books with bleed, the minimum margin is bigger. Now I go back to Canva and I'm going to add some guides to mark the margins. We just need to click on the ruler and drag the mouse to the right to add a vertical guide or to the bottom to add an horizontal guide. If you don't see the rulers, you just need to go to File, Settings, Show Rulers and Guides, or use the shortcut Shift-R. One small tip to help place the ruler in the right spot, or the most approximate as possible, is to zoom in. To do that, you just need to press Ctrl or Command and use the mouse wheel, or press Ctrl or Command plus. This way we can get a more precise measurement. Remember that the measurements we saw are minimum values, so they don't have to be exact as long as they aren't lower. The inside margin is done. Now I'm going to add the remaining ones. Now I want to find the center of the page. I can't consider the center of the document itself because now what matters are the margins of the page, so I need to find the center between the margins. One easy way to do that without having to do the math is adding a rectangle that fills all the space between margins and then find its center. To add a rectangle, you just need to press R on your keyboard. The guides we added will help us because now we can snap the rectangle to one of the corners and then stretch it to the other corner. I'll lock it so it doesn't move. Now I just need to drag another guide and Canva will do its magic and tell me where the center of my rectangle is. We can see the line turns pink in two spots. One, it's the center of the page, and the other one is the center of our rectangle. Since we know the center of our page will be 4.25 inches, which is half of 8.5 inches, so the center of our rectangle is the other measurement, in this case 4.333 inches. We are not going to need this rectangle anymore, so I'm going to unlock it and delete it. Now I'm going to lock the guides so I don't move them by accident. To do that, I go to File, Settings, Lock Guides. Now I'm going to create a few more pages and start naming them so I can organize myself. This will be the first page, Something important to keep in mind is that since my coloring books are single-sided pages, I always need a blank page between each page that has a drawing. If your books are double-sided, of course, you don't need to do this. So I add a blank page, and this page will have the text that I add usually to my books, which I have already copied, and I'm going to paste it here. The next page will be the "This coloring book belongs to" page. The next one will be the characters page. Then we'll have the table of contents. And then we'll start with the coloring pages. At the end of the book, I add a thank you page with some QR codes for my social media and also a QR code for people to leave a review of the book on Amazon. I also already have that text copied and I'm going to paste it here. In the case of the QR code to leave the book review, I can't create the final code yet, because for that I need the ASIN number of the book, and we only have that after the book has been approved by Amazon. The ASIN number means Amazon Standard Identification Number, and it's like a barcode that is exclusive for each product on Amazon. It's similar to the ISBN for books, but it's used for all kinds of products. So what I do here is to reduce the opacity of these QR codes, so I don't forget that when the book has been approved and already has an ASIN number, I have to replace this QR code for the real one and submit the manuscript again. The last page will be a blank page, as it will be the back of the previous one. Now I'm going to upload the content of my pages to Canva so I can add it to my book. In my case, it will be the coloring pages that I already created on Procreate and have exported to my computer. Now I'm going to add the drawings to the pages. I start by selecting the page that I want to add. I adjust the size, and then I'm going to center it vertically to the center of the page and horizontally using the guide that we added in the beginning. Then I will duplicate the page because this way is more simple, as the drawing is already exactly as I wanted to, and I already have to replace the image. I decided to keep moving the drawings to another folder, so it is becoming easier to find the ones that I want to add. Now I just need to find the next drawing and drag them over the image that is already on the page. And I'm going to keep doing this until the end, always adding a blank page between each page with drawings, so that when it's printed, only the fronts of the pages of each sheet are printed. Now I'm going to create the table of contents. I start by adding a frame. I'll use the table of contents of my previous book as a model, replacing the little drawing that now is going to be a little flower. Now I adjust the spacing according to the number of entries that I need, and I start to fill out the names of the pages. Now I'm going to create the characters page. The drawing is already done, so I just need to add the names. Now I'm going to make the "This book belongs to" page. Now I'm going to start working on the first page, which will basically be the cover, but without color. It's lacking the book title, but first I need to make the cover, so then I can copy the title to here. To make the book cover, we need to know what are the measurements that we need, which depend on the size of the book that we want and the number of pages. So I go over to the Amazon KDP website to download the template to help me on that. We just need to fill in the binding type, the type of interior, the type of paper, the reading direction, the measurement units, the book size, and the number of pages. We click on Calculate Dimensions and then Download Template. And here we have our template. Now I'm going to create a new document on Canva with these dimensions, and I'm going to add the template. Now I add the image that I'm going to use as the cover, which I had already created on Procreate, as you saw in my last video. Now I'm going to use the template to add guides to know where the folds of the book spine will be, and also a guide in the center to help me position the text that I'm going to add on the spine. Now I'm going to use the rectangle technique to add a line in the center of what will be the front cover. And now I do the same for the back cover. Now I'm going to add the text that I want to the cover using my previous book as the base, and I add the text volume 2. Now I'm going to add text to the spine. And finally, I'm going to add some miniatures of some of the pages on the book's interior to serve as a preview. I'm going to copy the one from the previous book, and then I just need to replace the drawings. Now I'm going to check if everything is okay using the template. to confirm that I don't have nothing important in the parts that are red, nor in the part where the barcode will be, which is the yellow rectangle. Then I'm going to replace the drawings of the miniatures. With the book cover finished, I'm going to finish the first page of the book. I'm going to copy the title of the book and turn it to black and white. To do that, I just need to reduce the saturation. Now I just make a few adjustments and that's it. Now that we have our documents ready, we can go over to the Amazon KDP website to submit the book. If you don't have an account, you're going to need to create one, but I'm not going to explain that part here. Once inside your account, we click on Create. Then we choose what we want to create, in this case, a paperback. We select the language of the book. Then we fill in the title and subtitle of the book. Next, we can tell if our book belongs to a series. In my case, I'm going to create a new series now because this is the second book. So I'm going to click on Add to Series, Create Series. This is main content. And go to Series Setup. I write the name of the series. I check Unordered and then click on Submit. Now I go back to the book setup. Here I add the author's name. And here we write the book's description. This is what people will see when they click to see the details of your book. Now I check that I own the copyright and all the necessary publishing rights to the book, and that it does not contain any explicit images. Then you can choose which is the primary marketplace that you want. In my case, I'm going to leave it as Amazon.com. And now you can choose the categories that describe your book. You can choose up to 3 categories. Up next, we can add up to 7 keywords, which are search terms that can help people find our book. So it is very useful for us to use all 7. Next, we choose the publication date. In my case, it is a new book, so I leave it as the first option. And on the release date, we can choose if we want to release our book for sale now or at a scheduled date. In any of the cases, there is a maximum deadline of 72 hours for the book to be analyzed and approved or not by Amazon KDP. If we choose to release immediately, the book will be available as soon as it's approved by Amazon KDP. Now we continue to the next page. Here we have to select if we want to get a free ISBN from KDP or if we already have our own ISBN. I'm going to choose Get a Free KDP ISBN. Next, we choose the type of paper and if we want our book in black and white or color. Then we choose the trim size. Then we tell if our book has bleed or not and what's the finish that we want for our cover, matte or glossy. The next step is to upload the manuscript, which is the document that contains the book's interior. So now I go to Canva to download the book's interior into PDF format for printing. I check if everything is okay, and then I upload the file. Next, we have the book cover. Here we have the option to use their cover creator or to upload our own cover. So I go again to Canva to download the cover file. So now I'm going to upload the file. Next, we have to say if we have used AI on the creation of the book, and if yes, on which parts and what tools were used. Then we click on Launch Previewer to check if everything is okay or if there are any errors. So we can see that we have 2 pages with errors. Basically, the drawings are going slightly over the margins on the pages that are mentioned here. So I'm going to fix that and submit the document again. I've already fixed the mistakes and submitted the file again. And we can see that we no longer have any errors signed. So I'm going to check everything is okay and click on Approve. Once it's approved, we can go to the last stage, which is pricing. Here we're going to set up the retail price of our book for each marketplace, and we're going to be able to see which are the printing costs and the royalty that we receive for each sale. Here I'm going to insert the minimum values so I can get the 60% royalty. I talked about this in an earlier video, so I'm not going to go into details about this now. Once you're happy with your prices, all you have to do now is click on Publish your paperback book, and it is submitted. As I said earlier, now we have to wait up until 72 hours so that Amazon KDP can analyze and see if everything is according to their guidelines. Once it's approved, in case we have chosen the option to release the book immediately, it can take up to 72 hours so the book becomes available for purchase on the website. But as for my experience, it's usually available in the first day. And it's done. We have set up our files and upload them to the Amazon KDP platform. Now we just need to wait until it's approved. Spoiler alert, it has already been approved and it's available on the website. I'll leave the link in the description of the video. And that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, comment and share. And of course, subscribe to the channel to keep watching content like this. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!